This is Bruce Bogtrotter and the cake. "How can she get away with it?" Lavender said to Matilda. "Surely the children go home and tell their mothers and fathers. I know my father would raise a terrific stink if I told him that the headmistress had grabbed me by my hair and slung me over the playground fence." "No, he wouldn't," Matilda said, "and I'll tell you why. He simply wouldn't believe you." "Of course he would." "He wouldn't," Matilda said, "and the reason is obvious. Your story would sound too ridiculous to be believed. And that is the Trunchbull's great secret." "What is?" Lavender asked. Matilda said, "Never do anything by halves if you want to get away with it. Be outrageous. Go the whole hog. Make sure everything you do is so completely crazy it's unbelievable. No parent is going to believe this pigtail story, not in a million years. Mine wouldn't. They'd call me a liar." "In that case," Lavender said, "Amanda's mother isn't going to cut her pigtails off." "No, she isn't," Matilda said. "Amanda will do it herself. You see if she doesn't." "Do you think she's mad?" Lavender asked. "Who?" "The Trunchbull." "No, I don't think she's mad. Meaning not mad angry, but mad like crazy." "No, I don't think she's mad or crazy," Matilda said, "but she's very dangerous. Being in the school is like being in a cage with a cobra. You have to be fast on your feet." They got another example of how dangerous the headmistress could be on the very next day. During lunch, an announcement was made that the whole school should go into the assembly hall and be seated as soon as the meal was over. When all 250 or so boys and girls settled down in the assembly, the Trunchbull marched on the stage. None of the other teachers came in with her. She was carrying a riding crop in her right hand. And I'm going to show you the picture that goes along with this. And right here, is her riding crop. That's what they use on horses to get them to go faster. Okay, she stood up on the center stage in her green breeches with legs apart and riding crop in hand, glaring at the sea of unturned faces before her. "What's going to happen?" Lavender whispered. "I don't know," Matilda whispered back. The whole school waited for what was coming next. "Bruce Bogtrotter!" the Trunchbull barked suddenly. "Where is Bruce Bogtrotter?" A hand shot up among the seated children. "Come up here!" the Trunchbull shouted, and looked smart about it. An 11-year-old boy who was decidedly large and round stood up and waddled briskly forward. He climbed up to the platform. "Stand over here," the Trunchbull ordered, pointing. The boy stood to one side. He looked nervous. He knew well he wasn't up there to be presented with a prize. He was watching the headmistress with an exceedingly wary eye, and he kept edging further and further away from her with little shuffles in his feet, rather as a rat might edge away from a terrier dog that is watching it from across the room. His plump, flabby face had turned gray with fearfulness. His stockings or his socks hung about his ankles. "This clot!" boomed headmistress, pointing the riding crop at him like a raptor. "This blackhead is foul, this poisonous pustule. that you see before you is none other than a disgusting criminal, a denizen of the underworld, a member of the mafia." "Who, me?" Bruce Bogtrotter said, looking genuinely puzzled. "A thief!" the Trunchbull screamed. "A crook! A pirate! A brigade! A rustler!" "Steady on," the boy said. "I mean, dash it all, headmistress." "Do you deny it, you miserable little gumboil? Do you plead not guilty?" "I don't know what you're talking about," the boy said, more puzzled than ever. "I'll tell you what I'm talking about, you little blister," the Trunchbull shouted. "Yesterday morning, during break, you sneaked in like a serpent into the kitchen and stole a slice of my private chocolate cake from my tea tray. That tray had been prepared for me personally by the cook. It was my morning snack. And as for the cake, it was my own private stock. That was not a boy's cake. You don't think for 1 minute I'm going to eat the filth I give to you. That cake was made from real butter and real cream. And he, that robber bandit, that safecracker, that highwayman standing over there with his socks around his ankles, stole it and ate it." "I never did," the boy exclaimed, turning from gray to white. "Don't lie to me, Bogtrotter," barked the Trunchbull. "The cook saw you. What's more, she saw you eating it." The Trunchbull paused to wipe the fleck of froth from her lips. So here is a picture of Bruce with the Trunchbull pointing her riding crop at him. When she spoke again, her voice was suddenly softer, quieter, more friendly, and she leaned towards the boy, smiling. "You like my special chocolate cake, don't you, Bogtrotter? It's rich and delicious, isn't it, Bogtrotter?" "Very good," the boy mumbled. The words were out before he could stop himself. "You're right," the Trunchbull said. "It is very good. Therefore, I think you should congratulate the cook. When a gentleman has a particularly good meal, Bogtrotter, he always sends compliments to the chef. You didn't know that, did you, Bogtrotter? But those who inhabit the criminal underworld are not noted for their good manners." The boy remained silent. "Cook!" the Trunchbull shouted, turning her head towards the door. "Come here, cook. Bogtrotter wishes to tell you how good your chocolate cake is." The cook, a tall, shriveled female who looked as though all of her body juices had been dried out of her long ago in the hot oven, walked onto the stage wearing a dirty white apron. Her entrance had clearly been arranged beforehand by the headmistress. "Now then, Bogtrotter," the Trunchbull boomed, "tell cook what you think of her chocolate cake." "Very good," the boy mumbled. You could see he was now beginning to wonder what all this was leading up to. The only thing he knew for certain was that the law forbade the Trunchbull to hit him with that riding crop that she kept smacking against her thigh. That was some comfort, but not much, because the Trunchbull was totally unpredictable. No one knew what she was going to do next. That's a good context clue, with unpredictable, not knowing what someone is going to do next. "There you are, cook," the Trunchbull cried. "Bogtrotter likes your cake. He adores your cake. Do you have any more of your cake you could give to him?" "I do indeed," the cook said. She seemed to have learnt her lines by heart. Then go and get it, and bring a knife to cut it with. The cook disappeared. Almost at once she was back again, staggering under the weight of the enormous round chocolate cake on a china platter. The cake was fully 18 inches in diameter, and it was fully covered with dark brown chocolate icing. Then she put it on the table. There was a small table on the stage with a chair behind it. The cook placed the cake carefully on the table. "Sit down, Bog Trotter," the Trunchbull said. "Sit there." The boy moved cautiously to the table and sat down. He stared at the gigantic cake. "There you are, Bog Trotter," the Trunchbull said, and once again her voice became soft and nice and even gentle. "It's all for you, every bit of it, as you enjoyed that slice you had yesterday so very much. I ordered cook to bake you an extra large one, all for yourself." "Well, thank you," the boy said, totally bemused. "Thank cook, not me," the Trunchbull said. "Thank you, cook," the boy said. The cook stood there like a shriveled bootlace, tight-lipped and disapproving. She looked as though her mouth was full of lemon juice. "Come on, then," the Trunchbull said. "Why don't you cut yourself a nice thick slice and try it?" "What? Now?" the boy said cautious. He knew there was a catch in this somewhere, but he wasn't sure where. "Can I take it home instead?" he asked. "Oh, that would be impolite," the Trunchbull said with a crafty grin. "You must show Cookie here how grateful you are for all the trouble she's taken." The boy didn't move. "Go on. Get on with it," the Trunchbull said. "Cut a slice and taste it. We haven't got all day." The boy picked up the knife and was about to cut into the cake when he stopped. He stared at the cake and then looked up at the Trunchbull, then at the tall, stringy cook with her lemon-juice mouth. All the children in the hall were watching tensely, waiting for something to happen. They felt certain it must. The Trunchbull was not a person who would give someone a whole chocolate cake to eat just out of kindness. Many were guessing that it had been filled with pepper or castor oil or some other foul-tasting substance that would make the boy violently sick. It might even be arsenic, or he would be dead in 10 seconds flat. Or perhaps it was a booby-trapped cake, and the whole thing would blow up the moment he cut it, taking Bruce with it. No one in the school put it past the Trunchbull to do any of these things. I don't want to eat it," the boy said. "Taste it, you little brat," the Trunchbull said. "You're insulting the cook." Very gingerly or carefully, the boy began to cut the thin slice of cake. Then he levered the slice out. Then he put down the knife and took the sticky thing in his fingers and started very slowly to eat it. "It's good, isn't it?" the Trunchbull asked. "Very good," the boy said, chewing and swallowing. He finished the slice. "Oh, have another," the Trunchbull said. "That's enough, thank you," the boy murmured. "I said have another," the Trunchbull said, and now there was the altogether sharper edge to her voice. "Eat another slice. Do as you're told." "I don't want another slice," the boy said. Suddenly the Trunchbull exploded. "Eat!" she shouted, banging her thigh with the riding crop. "If I tell you to eat, you will eat. You wanted cake, you stole cake, and now you've got cake. What's more, you're going to eat it. You do not leave this platform, and nobody leaves this hall until you've eaten the entire cake that's sitting there in front of you. Do I make myself clear? Do you get my meaning?"